Have you ever imagined a place where the world's most powerful minds gather away from prying eyes, in a setting that blends symbolism and absolute secrecy? A club so exclusive that even its existence feels more like a myth than reality. Behind locked gates, surrounded by ancient trees, decisions might be made and pacts could be formed. This is the Bohemian Grove, a place that seems more like the setting of a horror film than a retreat for relaxation. But what really happens within these woods? Is it just an escape from the pressures of the world, or the stage for conspiracies shaping the fate of humanity? Welcome to another night where mysteries never sleep. I am Midnight, and this is 7 Nights. Today, we'll explore the secrets of one of the world's most controversial and mysterious clubs. Get ready to dive into rituals, conspiracies, and a story that challenges the imagination. When we think of secret societies, our minds often turn to names like the Illuminati, Rosicrucians, Skull and Bones, or even the Freemasons. It's amazing how these names immediately come to mind, isn't it? They seem like the stars of every conspiracy theory. Each of these carries centuries of mysterious histories and conspiracy theories that fuel popular imagination. These organizations, real or imagined, are often associated with global events, such as political and cultural manipulations, reinforcing the idea that they control humanity's destiny behind the scenes. The fascination with these groups goes beyond their actions. It lies in the aura of secrecy surrounding their members and practices. But does every mysterious society truly harbor such dark secrets? Among the many legends and stories, the Bohemian Grove emerges as a society that, unlike others, doesn't operate in castle basements or hidden temples. This club gathers under the open sky, in the dense forests of Monte Rio, California. While few know of its existence, it's seen by many as the true elite among exclusive societies. Its purpose, at least officially, is to provide a relaxed environment for the country's most powerful men. But if that's all it is, why so much secrecy? The mystery surrounding the Bohemian Grove isn't just about its exclusivity. Strange ceremonies, influential names that have been there, and discussions that have shaped historical events create fertile ground for conspiracy theories. For some, it's a stage for occult rituals. For others, it's where significant political decisions are made away from public scrutiny. After all, a club that brings together the most influential leaders in the United States couldn't just be a retreat for relaxation. What else could be happening in these shadowy forests? Since its foundation, the Bohemian Grove has always been surrounded by criticism and curiosity. It combines the sense of exclusivity with practices that provoke a mix of fascination and unease. Outsiders, intrigued, have risked their safety to uncover what really happens inside. However, even with some revelations over the years, the true essence of the club remains shrouded in mystery, leaving room for collective imagination. Undoubtedly, this only makes the Bohemian Grove even more enigmatic. At its core, the lingering question is, to what extent do these meetings affect the rest of the world? Are we looking at a group of wealthy men who just want to have fun, or a society that genuinely manipulates global decisions? Between cremation rituals, political pacts, and a guest list that includes presidents and magnates, it's clear that the Bohemian Grove is no ordinary club. And perhaps that's what's most frightening. The Bohemian Grove is located in Monte Rio, a small town in California, surrounded by dense redwood forests, the tallest trees in the world. This remote, almost untouched location is the perfect choice for an organization that desires absolute privacy. The area, shrouded in morning mist and illuminated by a faint afternoon sun, provides a setting straight out of a mystery tale. There, every July, a singular event takes place that gathers some of the most powerful men in the United States. For many, it's just a luxury retreat. For others, it's the epicenter of decisions and rituals that affect the world's destiny. The choice of the forest is no accident. The grandeur of the location seems to reinforce the idea that the club is larger than life. Among ancient trees and crystal-clear streams, the meetings occur with an almost total sense of isolation. Any attempt to approach is immediately thwarted by well-trained security personnel and surveillance systems. Doesn't this description sound more like a villain's fortress in a movie than a rest club? There are accounts of journalists who tried to infiltrate the site and were quickly detained or, at the very least, turned away. This level of precaution raises an obvious question. What exactly happens there that requires so much secrecy? Although the gatherings are described as moments of relaxation and leisure, the activities conducted at the Bohemian Grove are cloaked in secrecy. Supposedly, there are lectures, ceremonies, and elaborate parties. Some accounts from former members claim the atmosphere is a mix of exaggerated informality with carefully planned events. It's not uncommon to find men dressed in peculiar outfits or participating in open-air theatrical performances. Even so, what draws the most attention are the symbolic rituals, which fuel theories about occult practices. One of the most controversial ceremonies is called the cremation of care, where an effigy is burned as part of a ritual symbolizing the release of daily concerns. For the organizers, it's nothing more than a symbolic performance, but for conspiracy theorists, it's evidence of something much darker. This ritual takes place at night, under the light of torches, with members dressed in garments resembling those of ancient priests. The description seems straight out of a horror film, yet videos and accounts confirm the event's existence. The proximity between the forest and Secrecy enhances the aura of mystery surrounding the Bohemian Grove. Everything about this place seems carefully designed to create a space where nothing that happens inside can be witnessed by the public. However, the few pieces of information that have leaked fuel a popular imagination where the club is seen as more than just a simple retreat. This perception is key to its reputation as one of the most mysterious societies in the world. The Bohemian Grove's history begins in a surprisingly modest way. In 1872, a group of journalists, artists, and lawyers from San Francisco decided to create a space to celebrate their passion for the arts. The initial idea was simple: an annual gathering where they could detach from daily worries and discuss culture and literature. The group was small, but the relaxed, almost rebellious environment made the Bohemian Grove a special place for the intellectuals of the time. However, what began as a bohemian gathering soon underwent changes that would drastically alter its nature. The decline of the bohemian spirit began when businessmen, politicians, and military leaders started joining the group. These influential figures brought with them a different interest: power and exclusivity. As the membership list grew, the annual gatherings transitioned from simple cultural retreats to grand, private events. In 1899, the club acquired a vast forested area in California, solidifying the site as its official meeting space. This marked the end of its unassuming character and the start of a more elitist era. The transition didn't sit well with everyone. Many of the original bohemians distanced themselves, uncomfortable with the growing presence of magnates and politicians. What had once been an artistic haven had transformed into a club of the powerful. Over time, the Bohemian Grove began attracting prominent figures not only from the United States, but around the world. The notion of a secret society naturally took shape, as any group that gathered so much influence would inevitably be surrounded by mystery and curiosity. The Bohemian Grove's location in the forest reinforces its exclusivity. Instead of a luxurious hall in the city center, the founders opted for a remote, natural environment. This not only kept curious eyes away, but also created an almost mystical atmosphere. For many, the combination of isolation and power made the location the perfect setting for elite gatherings. Even so, the Bohemian Grove never completely abandoned its artistic roots. Performances and cultural discussions remained part of the event, although now they serve more as intellectual decor for meetings with much larger objectives. What sets the Bohemian Grove apart from other secret societies is its transition from a small bohemian group to an elite organization. Its initial history, which seems almost innocent, sharply contrasts with what it represents today. This contrast between simple beginnings and current reality is one of the factors that most fascinates scholars and the curious. After all, how did something that started so unpretentiously become one of the most powerful clubs in the world? The exclusivity of the Bohemian Grove is one of its most striking and controversial features. Unlike other societies where membership is more accessible, the process of joining this club is nearly impossible for most people. First, you need to receive an invitation from several existing members, which drastically limits who can even apply. Then, the candidate must be approved and placed on a waiting list that can take decades. Not to mention the exorbitant fees, starting at $25,000 for initiation and followed by equally expensive annual dues. This financial and social barrier ensures that only the wealthiest and most influential individuals have any chance of joining the group. It is as if the club was designed to exclude most people and reinforce its aura of exclusivity. In 1989, a waiting list showed that some individuals had been waiting for more than 30 years to join. Even for those who endure this long process, the exclusivity doesn't end there. The club is strictly male. Women have never been allowed, a policy often criticized as outdated and discriminatory. Although the club insists there are no sinister secrets behind its practices, this exclusivity only fuels speculation. After all, why would a group of wealthy and powerful men require so much secrecy? Is it merely to protect their privacy, or is there something more? Many critics argue that the elitist structure of the club mirrors the same mechanisms of exclusion present in society at large. However, the Bohemian Grove goes a step further. It creates a space where these men can gather without any form of public oversight or accountability. This exclusivity also contributes to the creation of conspiracy theories. For theorists, the secrecy suggests that something significant, and perhaps dangerous, is happening behind the scenes. The membership lists of the Bohemian Grove include presidents, oil magnates, CEOs of major corporations, and military leaders. With so many high-profile names, it's hard to believe the gatherings are purely for entertainment. Even though the club claims that business is not discussed during meetings, the informal political and economic decisions made there continue to be a source of suspicion. In the end, the exclusivity of the Bohemian Grove is both its greatest strength and its greatest weakness. It protects its members, but also places them under public scrutiny. By limiting membership to a select group of wealthy and powerful men, the club virtually invites the world to question its true objectives. For many, the answers to these questions are darker than the club would ever admit. The official motto of the Bohemian Grove is taken from one of William Shakespeare's most famous works, "Weaving spiders come not here." Translated into modern language, "Leave your problems outside, only the masters of the web are welcome here." This phrase, extracted from A Midsummer Night's Dream, suggests that club members should not bring their daily concerns into the gatherings. In theory, the motto reinforces the idea that the Bohemian Grove is a space for relaxation, where work and business are left behind. However, the club's history shows that, in practice, things don't quite work that way. Although the motto is frequently cited by members as a kind of golden rule, it has been contradicted on several occasions. One of the most famous examples is the discussion of the Manhattan Project during one of the club's meetings in 1942. This project, which led to the creation of the first atomic bombs, shaped the history of World War II and marked one of the most significant moments of the 20th century. The mere fact that such a pivotal event was discussed at the Bohemian Grove is enough to question the idea that work isn't discussed there. Moreover, other historical moments also challenge the club's motto. In 1967, Richard Nixon delivered a speech on U.S. foreign policy during one of the meetings, which he later described as a milestone in his path to the presidency. And that's not all. There are reports of informal political and economic agreements being made among members, something that seems to go against the idea that business is off limits. Even if these conversations aren't officially sanctioned by the club, it's clear that the rules are more flexible than they seem. The motto also carries important symbolic weight. It reinforces the idea that the Bohemian Grove is a space free from external judgment and pressure. Here, members can act without worrying about the consequences their actions might have in the real world. For many, this freedom is a form of escapism. For others, it's a dangerous opportunity to manipulate global events without oversight. Regardless of the interpretation, the motto has become a symbol of what the club represents: power without restrictions. The Shakespearean phrase might be more of a facade than a genuine rule. Despite its apparent simplicity, it's used to create an illusion of innocence and relaxation, while matters of extreme importance might be discussed in the shadows. This only adds to the mystery surrounding the Bohemian Grove and the difficulty in separating myth from reality. After all, if even the club's motto is questionable, what else might be hidden behind its curtains? Although the Bohemian Grove is promoted as a place for rest and relaxation, its history is marked by events that have had a significant impact on the world. One of the most emblematic cases occurred in 1942 when members discussed the planning of the Manhattan Project. This meeting was crucial for the creation of the first atomic bombs, which ended World War II in a devastating manner. Knowing that such a monumental decision was debated at a Bohemian retreat raises questions about what else might have been discussed under the guise of relaxation. Another significant moment was Richard Nixon's speech in 1967 during one of the club's meetings. Nixon called this speech the first milestone on my path to the presidency. The gathering was also the setting for a pact between Nixon and Ronald Reagan, in which Reagan agreed not to challenge him in the next elections. These discussions, although informal, show how the Bohemian Grove becomes a stage for agreements that can alter the course of American politics. Despite the motto prohibiting business, actions contradict the rules, and the consequences of these meetings extend beyond the club's boundaries. The historical events associated with the Bohemian Grove are not limited to the distant past. On several occasions, speeches and informal agreements made there have shaped the future of companies and public policies. The secrecy of the venue makes it impossible to know the depth of these impacts, but the pattern is clear. The club is not merely a space for entertainment. Even if many decisions aren't documented, the club's history proves it is more than an innocuous retreat. Its role as a center of power and influence is undeniable. The presence of renowned political and business figures reinforces the strategic importance of the Bohemian Grove. Members and guests include presidents, oil magnates, and CEOs of the world's largest companies. Even if the club's official activities don't include formal discussions of politics or business, it is almost inevitable that these individuals use the environment to exchange ideas. This blend of political and economic power creates fertile ground for decisions rarely exposed to the public eye. The Bohemian Grove has become a symbol of how the elite can shape the world's course without being questioned. It's hard to ignore the impact of informal discussions held there on modern history. And while the club's defenders insist it's merely a space for relaxation, the facts suggest otherwise. Every significant event associated with the Bohemian Grove strengthens theories that this is not just an ordinary retreat, but a meeting place where the powerful conspire in secrecy. The Bohemian Grove has gained notoriety for attracting the most powerful and influential figures in the United States. Its members and guests include former presidents, oil magnates, military leaders, and major businessmen. Names like Ronald Reagan, Richard Nixon, and Theodore Roosevelt have attended the annual gatherings. Nelson Rockefeller, who belonged to one of the wealthiest families in American history, was also present, solidifying the club's reputation as a space for the absolute elite. The presence of these personalities underscores that the club is far more than a place to relax. Although the membership list is shrouded in mystery, some information about who has participated has leaked over the years. In addition to politicians, renowned artists and writers have also been invited to the Bohemian Grove. The club values artistic performances and cultural discussions, which explains the presence of people from creative fields. However, the primary focus is on bringing together men with decision-making power, whether in politics, business, or military institutions. This combination creates an environment where the interests of different sectors can align away from public scrutiny. The presence of such influential leaders raises questions about the real purpose of the meetings. If the goal is merely to relax, why bring so many powerful figures to a single location? For critics, this suggests that the Bohemian Grove is a space where crucial decisions are made in secret. Although the club insists that work-related matters are discouraged, the history of important discussions, such as the Manhattan Project, contradicts this narrative. The mere fact of gathering so many influential people already makes the club a point of interest for those seeking to understand the backstage of power. The secrecy surrounding its members and activities fuels conspiracy theories. It's as if they were a grand buffet of mysteries. You pick the theory that best matches your fear. Some believe that the Bohemian Grove is a meeting point for larger societies, such as the Illuminati or occultist organizations. While there is no concrete evidence for these claims, the presence of so many global leaders in such a restricted and protected environment leaves room for speculation. The exclusivity and secrecy create a mystery that even the few accounts from former members fail to fully dispel. Ultimately, the Bohemian Grove represents the intersection of power, influence, and exclusivity. Its notable members are proof that the club is not just a place for entertainment and culture. It has become a symbol of how the elite can gather away from public scrutiny to discuss, or at least align, interests that affect the entire world. Knowing who walks through those doors is already an indication of the potential impact the club has on society. One of the most intriguing and controversial aspects of the Bohemian Grove is its ceremonies and rituals. The most famous of these is the so-called cremation of care, a symbolic event that takes place at the beginning of each annual gathering. During this ceremony, an effigy of a human being is burned in front of a giant owl statue, while club members watch in silence or actively participate. Officially, the ritual symbolizes the burning of everyday worries, allowing members to relax and enjoy the event. However, for many, this act is seen as something darker. The ceremony takes place at night, illuminated only by the flames of torches, contributing to the almost mystical atmosphere of the event. Participants wore robes reminiscent of priestly garments, while reciting words that, to external observers, sound strange and even occult. The owl statue, representing wisdom, is the centerpiece of the entire staging. Although organizers insist that there is nothing supernatural about the ritual, it is often associated with practices of secret societies or even ancient cults. The ritual was filmed in 2000 by Alex Jones, a conspiracy theorist who managed to infiltrate the Bohemian Grove with a hidden camera. The video caused a huge stir, showing images that many found disturbing. While the club confirmed the authenticity of the footage, it denied any occult intent behind the ritual. To them, the cremation of care is merely a theatrical performance, but that didn't stop darker theories from spreading quickly. In addition to the cremation of care, there are reports of other symbolic activities conducted at the club, such as theatrical performances and plays that blend humor with cultural references. These activities are described as harmless, but the closed context and absolute secrecy heighten suspicions. For critics, these ceremonies are not as simple as they seem and may hint at something deeper and more hidden. Even the few available accounts fail to dispel the mystery surrounding these practices. The rituals of the Bohemian Grove are one of the factors that most fuel its fame. They combine theatricality, symbolism, and secrecy in a package that is irresistible to conspiracy theorists and the curious. Whether they are merely performances or something more, these ceremonies are an essential part of the mystery that makes the Bohemian Grove one of the most enigmatic and controversial societies in the world. The mystery surrounding the Bohemian Grove has led many journalists and curious individuals to try to infiltrate the site to uncover what happens inside the club. However, these attempts are rarely successful due to strict security measures. High fences, constant surveillance, and a trained security team make the site nearly impenetrable. Even so, some individuals have managed to breach the system, bringing forth reports and images that further fueled conspiracy theories about the club. In 1987, journalist Philip Weiss was one of the first to infiltrate the Bohemian Grove. Pretending to be a guest, he spent several days at the camp and closely observed the members' behavior. In his article, Weiss described a relaxed environment where powerful men acted in unexpectedly informal ways. He reported that many members spent their time drinking, socializing, and participating in artistic activities such as musical and theatrical performances. Although his experience did not reveal major conspiracies, the account reinforced the idea that the club is, at the very least, peculiar. Another notable infiltration was by Alex Jones in 2000. Using a hidden camera, Jones managed to film the cremation of care ceremony. The footage showed club members burning an effigy in front of a giant owl statue while reciting ritualistic phrases. The recording generated great controversy and was used by Jones to argue that the club practiced occult rituals. While the Bohemian Grove denied these allegations, the footage became one of the most cited pieces of evidence by conspiracy theorists. In addition to Weiss and Jones, others have attempted to investigate the Bohemian Grove, with varying consequences. In 2009, writer Alex Shumatov was arrested after passing through a hole in the fence to investigate alleged illegal logging activities on the property. Although his investigation did not reveal anything significant about the club's meetings, the case drew attention to the site's strict security measures. Such severe responses only increase curiosity about what the club is trying to protect. Infiltrations into the Bohemian Grove generally reveal a mix of seemingly harmless activities and practices steeped in symbolism. However, the secrecy surrounding the club prevents a complete view of what happens inside. For some, this is enough to believe that there is something to hide. For others, it is merely the powerful's need for privacy. Regardless of the perspective, these investigations only reinforce the fascination with the Bohemian Grove and its reputation as one of the world's most mysterious societies. The Bohemian Grove is a constant target of criticism and conspiracy theories, and not without reason. Absolute secrecy, combined with the presence of political and business leaders, creates fertile ground for suspicion. Critics point out that the club represents an ethical problem, as important decisions may be debated there without any transparency. If leaders with so much power meet away from the public eye, what prevents them from discussing matters that affect millions of people? This is the starting point for many theories trying to decipher the club's true objectives. One of the most common criticisms is that the Bohemian Grove perpetuates social exclusion and the concentration of power. The club is composed mostly of wealthy white men, reflecting the structural inequality of American society. Moreover, the rule of not allowing women as members reinforces the idea that the site is an elitist and conservative space. For many, the Bohemian Grove symbolizes how the elite isolate themselves from the rest of society, protected by barriers of wealth and influence. Conspiracy theories go even further, suggesting that Bohemian Grove is a meeting center for occult societies, or even the Illuminati. Symbolic rituals, such as the cremation of care, are often cited as evidence of esoteric practices. Some believe these rituals have a deeper meaning, involving power pacts or spiritual manipulation. Although these claims are rarely supported by concrete evidence, they persist, fueled by the very mystery of the club. Other theories involve political and economic conspiracies. Critics suggest that despite the club's motto prohibiting work discussions, it is inevitable that business is conducted when so many leaders gather in one place. From the Manhattan Project to informal political agreements, the history of Bohemian Grove shows that significant decisions can indeed be made there. The lack of transparency only heightens suspicions that these meetings impact the real world, even if members insist otherwise. Despite the criticisms and theories, some argue that Bohemian Grove is merely a place for wealthy men to relax and escape the pressures of daily life. For these defenders, secrecy is simply a matter of privacy, with nothing conspiratorial about the club's activities. However, the mystery surrounding Bohemian Grove runs so deep that the truth is unlikely to be fully uncovered. For many, the club will remain an enigma, a shadow in the forest guarding secrets that will never be revealed. Life at Bohemian Grove is a blend of relaxation, excess, and symbolic activities. Members spend days camping among the giant trees, divided into small groups or camps that accommodate between 20 and 50 people. Each camp has its own style, ranging from a more festive atmosphere to an intellectual vibe. Overall, accounts indicate that the priority is to relax, drink, and enjoy the company of other members, free from concerns about the outside world. Bonfires are the heart of life at Bohemian Grove. At night, members often gather around them to talk, sing, and drink excessively. Informality is a hallmark of the club, where powerful men can let loose in ways that would be impossible in public. According to former members, the environment allows them to relive a bit of their youth, away from the pressures and responsibilities of daily life. This sense of freedom is one of the aspects most valued by participants. Freedom, right? Funny how it always seems more enjoyable when you're rich and powerful. In addition to the parties, there is an official program that includes lectures, musical performances, and theatrical plays. These activities, though described as cultural, serve a curious purpose, giving the event a veneer of sophistication. To critics, they are merely a way to disguise the club's true purpose, which is to promote informal discussions about power and business. Even so, these presentations are an important part of the Bohemian Grove experience, reinforcing its artistic heritage. Despite the relaxed atmosphere, there are rules members must follow. For instance, cell phones and other electronic devices are prohibited, ensuring that nothing that happens at the club is recorded or disclosed. This policy of absolute secrecy is one of the factors that most contribute to the mystery of Bohemian Grove. While some see it as a measure to protect members' privacy, others believe it's a way to hide activities that could not be explained to the public. Life at Bohemian Grove reflects the power and exclusivity of its members. The club provides a space where the elite can relax, but also forge connections and debate ideas away from the prying eyes of society. Even if many activities appear innocent, the secrecy and exclusivity create an environment ripe for suspicion. After all, when such powerful men meet in secret, it's hard to believe it's all just for fun. Bohemian Grove is one of modernity's greatest enigmas. It represents a place where power, exclusivity, and mystery converge, creating an environment that is both fascinating and unsettling. The combination of absolute secrecy, symbolic ceremonies, and the presence of the most influential figures in the United States ensures that suspicions about the club never fade. For some, it's merely a luxurious retreat for the powerful. For others, it's a place where global conspiracies are devised and implemented. Despite decades of investigations, infiltrations, and conspiracy theories, Bohemian Grove remains impenetrable. The secrecy surrounding the club acts as a curtain, preventing the public from seeing what truly happens behind the giant trees of California. The few accounts available reveal a mix of banality and symbolism, but they are not enough to answer the deeper questions. Is it really just a place to relax, or a meeting point for decisions that shape the world? The history of Bohemian Grove reinforces its aura of mystery. Events such as discussions about the Manhattan Project and informal political agreements show that, even though the club's motto prohibits business, matters of great importance have been addressed there. This leads many to believe that the rituals and festivities are merely a facade for something much bigger. The lack of transparency is the fuel that keeps these theories alive and sustains global interest in the club. What makes Bohemian Grove so intriguing is the fact that, even in a world increasingly connected and transparent, it remains one of the few places where the elite can meet away from the public eye. This exclusivity not only protects the members, but also places them under suspicion. For many, the club is the perfect example of how the elite organize to maintain their power while keeping the rest of society in the dark. And it is precisely this combination of power and mystery that makes Bohemian Grove so fascinating. Bohemian Grove is more than just an elite club. It reflects a world where power and exclusivity intertwine amid shadows and secrets. Its ceremonies, remote location, and the presence of the most influential figures in modern history ensure that its mystery never fades. But will we ever know the full truth? Or will Bohemian Grove remain a piece of a puzzle we may never complete? This story is just one piece, and one day, we may see the entire puzzle. If this made you think, subscribe and like the video. It helps the channel grow. Don't forget to share. After all, more voices mean more discoveries. If you've made it this far, it's because something in this mystery captivated you. But I bet you haven't seen everything yet. Click on the next videos now to continue your journey into the unknown. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe so you don't miss the next secrets I'm about to reveal. But be careful, once you step inside, there's no turning back.